It is. Trevor Seibert. What's going on, Trev? I haven't seen you all year.
No, it's been a while. Hopefully you can hear me okay. I'm sitting out on a mine site. I literally just crawled off a D9 to come and talk to you. So, juggling, doing my day job today.
Well, we can see you, we can hear you, and I'm real glad that I'm able to see you with all the fires that are happening out there in BC. It's been a real challenge. What's it been like, Trev?
Well, it has been a challenge. I'm up in Williams Lake, my hometown. I still have an office here. We do a lot of work, as I say, in mining up here, and we got 2 or 3 big mining projects going on, and the fires are all around us. We had a big one in Williams Lake. It's pretty well contained now, but they were hammering that one pretty hard for a number of weeks. And then of course the one down in Penticton that's taken a bunch of residential homes in Summerland. Another one in the Soyuz, another one in Vernon. All the places that a lot of your guests would know about when they race in Vernon and Penticton and those places. That whole valley has just been devastated with the wildfires that are going on, and of course had to put out a release the other day that we postponed in the Rattler because of it, and we don't have any problem doing that. Like it's just there's way more things to worry about than racing cars with what's going on out here right now.
Oh, I can well imagine. I heard it got scary close to Penticton Speedway, and I was on my knees praying to God that it didn't touch that track. You just got finished, you and your staff just got finished doing a ton of rebuilding over the last few years, and we don't need something like that happening to Penticton. Like you say, we can race whenever. And that's the beautiful part about being out there in BC. The window is a lot wider than it is in a lot of different locations in Canada. Is there a plan? Do you have a date where the Western Rattler 222 will take place?
So, we put out the release that we're postponing, and we're absolutely going to run it. We were looking for a date, that makes sense for everybody. Probably the one that's in the lead contention right now, and we're pretty confident it's going to be, the date is October 3rd, and that's our Harvest 200 weekend. And I think we're just going to combine the two, whatever that looks like, whether we run 2 races or just run the Rattler on that weekend. Because, of course, we have other shows. We've got our regular contingent of, Hornets and Legends and Street Stocks and stuff that run locally at the track that, that weekend was coming up for them. The Street Stocks, we're going to run the Rattler, but the other 2 classes weren't affected by that. So, we're going to probably take over that weekend, keeping in mind that we have to look after the other 2 or 3 classes. So it'll be a big weekend. We've got the West Car guys coming that weekend as well. So yeah, I think we're probably 90% sure we're going to put it on October 3rd. We're just checking with a few more racers to make sure that they don't have conflicts. Some of them do, unfortunately. It's not much we can do about it. There's a big race across the line on that weekend that always was going to be a bit of a conflict anyways, but now it's also a conflict for the Rattler, unfortunately. But it looks like we'll still have a pretty decent car count for it. Lots of guys have said, hey, you have to do what you got to do, and let us know the date, and we still want to come. Lots of inquiries this year on the Rattler, and been going on all summer. So unfortunately, I had to postpone it, but we're going to turn it into something positive once we get things looked after in the Okanagan and get people, sorted again with their homes and get them back in there. There's 20,000 people that are evacuated right now, which we can't be tying up hotel rooms and stuff for putting racers and crew and stuff in right now when people are in desperate need of somewhere to live.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, the season can extend. There's no problem with that. And when the fire stuff's done and everybody gets their home back, they'll appreciate the fact that, there is something to do when all this is over, and it'll get their mind off of everything that they just went through.
Absolutely. I mean, we looked at keeping the date. It's still 1 week away from, 6 days right now, but it was a hell of a good call, in the end, for all kinds of reasons. But they're still battling that fire, and the highway is still closed. The main highway from Kelowna to Penticton. So it's quite a milk run just to get to Penticton now, with on the highways that are left open. So we made the right call that way. And we'll plan to sing in October, and like you say, people will be situated again properly. And unfortunately, some people have lost their homes, other people have been inconvenienced, if you will. We don't want to be trying to put an event on when that's going on. Let's get everything mopped up and cleaned up, and get everything kind of back where it belongs, and then put an event. And I think you're right. Lots of times when people go through something like this, they're looking for something exciting to go and watch.
Yeah, absolutely. How's the summer been for Penticton? I got a million questions for you, but we're going to start with that one. How's Penticton done this year?
Done quite well. Our last event was a Gordy Manis weekend, we call it. It's a memorial event that was there when we took over the track. It's a double header, street stock focused event, and very well received. I mean, the place was it was really packed on particular on day two. We had bands playing both days. We had a pretty damn good crowd on day one, and day two was loaded. We're doing a lot of things in the summer months and packing them in July and August, late June and July and August. And we're really targeting the tourism crowd, because it is a tourism, place, the Okanagan in particular. We get a lot of European people coming up there. And so we're focusing on that. I always say you're always going to get the hardened, race fans. They'll come out and watch you race a couple of shopping carts against each other. But, if we're going to grow a crowd and get new fans, we have to put something in front of them. And the way to do that for us is when the influx of people in the summertime goes through the roof. Now, of course, with the fire, a lot of those people have canceled their plans too. So it's a big deal for everybody right now, what's going on. So we're going to rely on getting some of the BC crowd to be big supporters of that event.
I seen a guy, and just on my Instagram, just scrolling through, and there was a guy pop up. He was from BC, and I believe he was a resident somewhere in the Okanagan. And he said, listen, the fires are away from us now in where we are. And please, if you're watching this video, please come on out and enjoy our establishments, and come on out for some wine, and come out for this and that. He said, we are, like, the local people need the business. Everybody is chased away, and we need the business. So if you're anywhere close to this, please do me a favor and come out. And it really struck home, man. If I was out that way, I would have been the first guy there to support the local area to try and get some of that. Because, like you say, with the fires, it chased literally everybody away.
You're absolutely right, Joe. Like, that's, with a big influx of people for the summer months, that's what the small businesses all rely on. Hotels or restaurants, the different things. Is certainly some of the events, like, the people that rent out a paddleboard and that type of stuff. It just gets hammered, and there's no recovery from that for the entire year, because nobody's coming here in October to go float down the channel or do something on a boat or do some water sports. So it's very hard on them. So absolutely right. For the people who are there, they've been encouraging them to at least, participate as best they can, to keep the dollars flowing. But for us to have an opportunity to postpone something and have all those hotel rooms and the pressures put on, you got to remember, we consume, first responders at the racetrack, right? I mean, we have people in first aid, we have the fire people on notice. Yeah. The last thing I want to do is have to dial 911 and call a bunch of people up there that are already taxed to the max doing something else, right? So for sure, for the people that are already there, by all means, spend your money, support those businesses, but we'll just do ours a different day.
Yeah, good call. You're also involved. Trevor is a utility guy. He is a jack of all trades. He's not only a racer, and we're going to get to that part of it, but he's also involved at Area 27, which is another beautiful BC Speedway. It's a road course up the road from Penticton. But how are things at Area 27? Did you get a chance to get out and run around the track at all this year there?
I did once earlier in the season. I get pretty busy with the construction side of things, and between that and running Penticton Speedway, it's hard for me to go out and shut my brain off and just concentrate on having some fun for myself. So I did manage to get out there once, but having said that, when I go to Area 27, we have typically 8 or 9 cars that Avion Motorsports is looking after when we do the our race days, our club racing. I enjoy, don't get me wrong, I enjoy being behind the wheel, but I also enjoy just kind of being out there and being social with all of our guests that are there running cars and helping them out and supporting them. So I've done a fair bit of that this summer. We've done our corporate events that we normally do. Those are the ones that we host privately at Area 27. So done a bunch of that. We did a race school. We're looking at doing another race school here later on in the fall because it was really well attended. I've already done too much. Like Area 27 itself doesn't do much when it comes to race schools because, talking with that hat on, Area 27, we have Corvettes. We used to have the Camaros that we have our deal with GM. So we put on performance driving schools. But some people confuse that with a race school. Yeah. And they're not the same thing. Performance driving is one thing. If you truly want to go and race, there's racecraft. There's so many different things that come to that. Ryley was a spearhead of that one. Like we put him in charge of doing the training, and it went over very well. So we're going to do more of those if we can find a way for him and I to get away to help out in that, because really enjoy doing it.
Yeah, well, and you guys do an excellent job. Area 27, was it far enough away from the fires? Cross your fingers it don't come back or anything. Has it been spared?
Well, funny you ask, because, and I hadn't really thought of this until you brought this up, but it was 2 or 3 years ago we had a big fire around the track at Area 27. So most of the stuff in the hills is burnt. And once it's burnt, you have kind of a natural fire guard. We were fortunate that time. We had one of our safety guys that was pretty dedicated. He was out there with a little fire truck that we own, and he was putting out spot fires. So all of the trees on the property, all the grass and everything remained. We had fire coming onto the property, and he was able to keep it out, him and a couple of his helpers. So we kind of have a natural fire guard around that property. Unfortunately, it's a bunch of burnt trees, but it doesn't look that bad 3 years later. The grass comes back at least, and it's pretty sparse in the Okanagan when it comes to trees anyways in some of those areas. So it's not to say that it wouldn't burn, because we still have all the trees that we have on the property, but it's a little tougher for the fire to get to us now.
Good. That's a piece of positive news right there, and I'm really glad to hear it. Now, let's talk about your racing. I know we had the winner. Sam joined us just last week. That went to Victory Lane in the Bridge City 200 in Saskatoon. I know you and your son Ryley both had cars in that race. Take us through it. How was it?
Oh, it was a great event. Ryley was on the pole, actually. Sam put a lap in there that was quicker, but him and I both got a lap penalty or lap taken away in qualifying. I think he missed his weight or something like that, and we did something kind of embarrassing that I don't even want to talk about, but we actually rolled across the scale with our practice tires on somehow, and in the mix of things, forgot to put our race tires on, and we were in the lineup for qualifying, and I had to go do an about face, and so they let me roll across, but I only got the one lap. So Ryley, and he was second in qualifying, so he inherited the pole, if you will. And it was a great race. Ryley led a lot of it. I was kind of hanging out in fourth and fifth, but right after halfway, I got a flat tire, the right front go down, so I had to come in. I was fortunate. I was kind of biding my time out there, and probably the next lap I had to come in. I was damn near on the wheel, and it was going down slowly, lucky enough, and I got the yellow I needed. And so I pulled in and got a right front, put back in the car, and stayed on the lead lap. Had to come from last, got back in the mix. I was up to fourth at one time, but as far as my car goes, I had a good car. I just wore the tires off the thing, getting back up to the front. And I don't know. These young guys, they're 145 pounds and mid-20s or whatever, and trying to run them down I get there, but they're doing a hell of a job. Sam did a great job. Ryley did a great job, and I had really good running with Matt Shirley, him and I ran door to door, lap after lap. Like, I had a bunch of really good battles going on in that race. And I was going to say, we never even so much as touched, but we did. I actually touched him by accident. I got a little deep in one corner there and gave him the door and had a good laugh about it afterwards, and thanked him for helping to straighten me out when I got in there. But a really good racing. You know, they had 16, 17 cars. They've had more. They've been playing with their rule book a little bit to try and get it so it's a little bit more, I think, like the Rattler, where different cars from different sanctions can participate.
Yeah.
And they weren't really doing that, and they decided to do it, but they did it too late, and so they missed a few cars that they could have got. But going forward, I think if we all get on the same rules package, or at least allow the different bodies, like I allow super lates to run with us at Penticton.
Right.
As you know, you're out there for the inaugural one, and Penticton's short. It's fast, but it's short. So the big power, it's usually the guy that's on the pole is on a super late car, but they don't usually stay there because they roast the right rear off the thing.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
And I think in Canada, in particular in Western Canada, we have to allow a bigger mix of cars into these races if we're going to get the car count.
Yeah, and it's scary to some of the competitors thinking, oh, I'm going to take my car and I'm going to run against that guy. I've seen it at Sauble Beach, where we had a super late race one night, and they were short on cars. Some other racetrack pulled a boner and put their race over top of ours. I ended up with 5 guys at Sauble, and hey, you can't do a show with 5, not when you're going to have a grandstand full of people. So I said to my late model guys, go home and get your cars. I don't care what you got. Get into the race. You're going to make the money. Just go get your cars. So a bunch of them did. And they come back. Well, we were all shocked that our late model guys that had a half a car compared to those super jets were actually beating them through the turns. And I mean smoking the super through the turns. And of course, the super would pull down the straightaway until they burnt the tires off the car. And we ended up with a super late win in the race, a pro late second, a pro late third, a super fourth, and on, all the way through the field. It made for a hell of a race, and what it just opened everybody's eyes up to look at the potential.
Absolutely. And so Saskatoon did allow, like I say, they made some rule changes, and they allowed a few different packages. We were on kind of our own package we were on the United package that the Cars Tour and everybody else is running now. And they were on their local package, I guess. And there's some weight differences. There's some left side weight things that are different in that thing. But honestly, the racing couldn't have been closer. We were neck and neck. I mean, the whole front 6, 7, 8 cars were neck and neck for the whole thing. It was good racing. And so, yeah, it's always an eye opener. People worry too much, I think, about somebody that has another 50 horse or whatever on a short track. You know, some of them for sure. A place like Tucson where you can use a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Saskatoon is getting up there. It's a little faster track, a little more ponies would help you for sure. But it was so damn close, I wouldn't touch the thing. I would leave it alone just the way it is.
Did you get many short track races in yourself this year, Trevor, or just that 200?
You know, I did. Ryley and I did. Where did we go? We went to Tucson in January. We did that one. We did the Wenatchee race for the Cars Tour, and then we did the shootout at Penticton. We did the one in Saskatoon, and that's it. I mean, not a lot. I've just been too busy. We'd like to do more. We'll probably schedule to go back to Tucson late in the fall, and we got to look at the car schedule. Maybe we'll even go down to California or something late in the year. We're just so darn busy right now, which is a good thing. Between the racetracks and the construction and everything, we're up to our eyeballs. And so we're kind of thinking about what we're going to do in the slower months, you know, go somewhere hot and do some racing.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's the ability you guys have. It's kind of a shame, though, because I know the locals would like to see you guys race more in the local market, so they get a chance to watch you. But if you're just tuned in to Racetime Radio and wondering who the guy is in the truck with the hat on, that's Trevor Seibert. He is Penticton Speedway. He's an accomplished racer, he and his son. He's also with Area 27, and he is Avion Motorsports. And I got to ask you, Trev, RS1. What is the picture with RS1 and those RS1 cars? It sort of went into a hiatus, if you will, or at least it looked like it. Where are we at with RS1?
It did for sure compared to what we were doing. You know, we had a full-blown standalone race series there, and that went quite well for a number of years. But like a lot of things, you know, without being able to give it the proper attention and, you know, things changed. We probably needed, you know, a big sponsor to come on board to keep that thing going at the level that it was at. However, a lot of new blood in there. Some cars have changed hands. A bunch of cars have changed hands. And those cars now we enter them in the club racing at Area 27. So they're out there with 40 other cars. And I can say the RS1 is, you know, it's leading the points. So it's usually when you see a couple of Porsche Cup cars out there, and you see 4 or 5 RS1s giving them a hard time. So they're really getting a lot of eyebrows raised, because of course you're talking about a $150,000 race car racing against a $350,000 car, and that's the start of it. Because when you go to do a brake job on a Porsche, it's probably a $10,000 bill instead of a $500 bill. So we're getting a lot more people that are doing the club, in particular at Area 27, getting involved. We're doing a lot more driver training in those cars. We've got some data acquisition stuff that we've brought into the cars now. We just kind of changed the way we're going about things, and we're having quite a bit of success with it, actually. So stay tuned. I know it's been pretty quiet because we've been rejigging the thing, but there's been a lot of them have been on the track.
Yeah, and the off season, that's when a lot of stuff gets planned and implemented and everything else. So it's I don't know what's going on with my mic, but something was going on with it. Anyway, it's good to hear that there still is stuff in the background there. Are cars still available? Somebody wants to buy an RS1 car. Can they do that?
Absolutely, yeah. That's why I say a bunch of them have changed hands. I mean, we've actually purchased back a few of them because what I mentioned earlier about our race schools, it makes way more sense for us to have a bunch of in-house cars. We always had house cars, but now we got more of them again. You know, we put these schools on, there's 8 or 10 cars out there, and everybody's in identical equipment. I mean, what better way to put on a school when everybody's got the exact same thing?
Yeah.
So yeah, but absolutely, there's cars changing hands with cars for sale. We can always build you a new one too, right? That's not an issue. So yeah, we haven't really changed the formula, but one thing we have done is we've just made some, I'd call them minor in the scope of the racing world. They're pretty minor changes when it comes to the spend, but the cars have got significantly faster than they were before.
No, that's
so we've
cool.
done, yeah. So you know, our lap times have actually gotten better after 10 years. So we've made some changes to some things. We got a bit more horsepower going through, and we got some suspension changes that we've done. We've brought in the data acquisition to help do some training, and so we're learning a bunch. In reality, we never really did a lot. We did a baseline setup on those cars and had everybody run with the basic same thing. So now that we're running against 30 other cars out there, we're digging a little deeper to see how much, you know, we can get out of the cars, and we've made some significant strides.
Well, if anybody can gain on it, it's your bunch at Avion Motorsports. I have no doubt. Let's go full circle back to Penticton Speedway, because we are getting close to the top of the hour. You race there next Saturday night, or have you, when you say the Western Rattler has been postponed, is it the full date that's postponed, or are you guys in action next Saturday?
No, we're completely shut down for next Saturday. That one's right off the schedule. And then moving that one forward, like I say, to what would have been our Harvest 200 weekend. That was our next late model race that a lot of guys were talking about coming to. It's that time of year where a lot of guys have done their schedules. And you mentioned it earlier in the conversation that Penticton, the sun's still out that time of year. So we're going to move it to that date. Not doing anything at all next weekend. Going to give everybody a chance to kind of regroup, you know, get their cars ready and see what we can do there. But it'll be a big event. There'll be the West Car gang is coming to run their race. which was going to be at the Rattler. We're going to do the Rattler 222, and then we're going to do our local stuff that was going to be on the Harvest weekend. So we got Street Stocks, Legends, Hornets. We got a lot of racing going on one night. They're going to pack it all in, so it'll be kind of a final hurrah for the season, I guess. For that, we have a Halloween event, but that's more of a fun event geared for the kids.
Yeah. No, that's super. And fans that are out in that market, if you're heading out there in that beginning of October, end of things, get to Penticton Speedway. They're losing dates, and let's help Penticton build it back up. And hopefully we can pick up what the loss is and make it an extra special event. That would really be cool. Tickets still on sale early. Can fans still go and buy them online?
So right now they're shut off, but they will be again once we finalize the date, which will be in the next couple of days. What we've done is did a mass refund for everybody that bought tickets for the Western Rattler. It's just a way to do it. Just refund everybody's money and start all over, right? So we don't have a bunch of back and forth. We're doing that. Another thing I'll mention is we spent a pile of time and effort and money doing a bunch of capital upgrades to the Speedway this year. So we've got a much bigger beer garden. We've got a spotter tower that we put in there. We got flush washrooms in there now. We got a really good group of food vendors. We did a bunch of things. We're fully licensed there now. So I got that about a month ago, which took me about a year to get.
Yeah.
So which is a big deal, right? You got to kind of have profit centers everywhere you look.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So people are really enjoying themselves.
Well,
so
and that's the way it happens at Penticton. I know I absolutely loved it. And it was a work in progress the 2 years I was there. And it's just kind of cool. Might have to come back in October so I can get caught up on everything.
I do have to get you back one of these days. I know we talk about it all the time, Joe, but it would be great to have you back because I'm pretty proud of what the place has become. I was pretty proud of it when you were there. I'm even more proud of it again now. I think you should come out and have a little look at what we've done. I think you'd enjoy it.
Man, it would be just another one of those wishes off the bucket list. I can guarantee you that, Trevor. This has been great catching up with you. Too bad we had to wait all year to do it, but I'll tell you what, I'd like to get you back on a week or so ahead of the Western Rattler so that we can remind fans and the reason for why they're going to make it out to the Western Rattler. And by then, we'll have an idea of maybe some of the cars that are coming in. Maybe I can get a couple of them guys on.
Absolutely. It's not a bad idea because by then we'll have concreted in a bunch of the drivers. I know a bunch that are coming for sure, but a few of them are checking their schedule because there might be some conflicts, and then I'll be able to tell you who's coming and so on. But yeah, why don't we do that?
We will absolutely. Trevor, do me a favor. Be safe out there and say hi to Ryley and the whole group out there. And we will be in touch. I can guarantee it.
Awesome. Thanks, Joe. And I always appreciate your time.
Trevor Seibert right there. Penticton Speedway, Area 27, Avion Motorsports, and one hell of a race car driver. He and his son. You want to talk about battles? He and his son. The two of them, you'd think go ahead, Dad, you pass? Not these two guys. They put the brain buckets on, every man for themselves, and they put on a show. I can just imagine what it's going to be like when we get the two of them back on the racetrack. Add in all the guys for the Western Rattler. It's truly going to be a great race.